So it's been a good morning.
Yeah, how's your week been?
That's a good question. How has it been?
We do this every week. It's like
Oh,
nothing has happened at all.
yeah, it's been super fast though. Like it's gone by so quickly.
Really, I'm the opposite on this end. It's just
Oh,
dragged for
really?
me. Yeah.
Oh, well, it's Christmas time coming up soon for my work, so it's like deadlines every week.
Yeah, same with mine.
Oh, okay. Oh, surely it'd go by super quick then, wouldn't it?
Oh no, somehow it's horribly stressful, but also super slow somehow.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah.
Um, but gyms are opening soon, so
Yay. Wednesday, right?
yeah, oh, that'll be like Christmas for you, won't it?
Yeah, except I'm all fat now, so um
Hooray!
yeah. I really need to get back in the gym and do some serious workouts. Home workouts are not doing it for me.
Yeah, home workouts aren't the same.
No. And oh man, I saw your post about pizza last night on Instagram, and now I'm already planning my cheat day tomorrow. What
Oh
am I gonna
yeah,
have? I'm so
I
excited.
think
It's
it
so
was.
lame that I'm excited about my cheat day. I'm jotting down things like, I wonder, I might have pizza, I might have chicken baguettes, I might have a curry.
Oh, wings.
Wings I could do, yeah.
Wings is my go-to.
Mm.
Um, yeah, like I post not regularly, but like I'll post and I'll get like zero response from it, even if it's something that I thought, oh, this will get some laughs. Never get anything. I posted a 7-second video of me opening a pizza box to some classical music, and it got more responses than a lot of posts this year.
Oh. People
Ah,
people like simple things. They like pretty pictures and food and things that make them like people falling over or falling down the stairs or
yeah.
the basics.
Ah, ah, yeah. So, um, yeah, pizza yesterday. It was good. I actually
What
went
did
to
you
order
get on it?
every meat I could.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's what I go for. I either like pizza with very little on it or every meat I can find.
I'm pretty much the same way.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I need to have a treat day myself.
I like how you call them treat days, and I'm
It's,
like, nah, screw
it's
it,
usually
cheat day.
just like
Make myself feel terrible.
yeah, I like yeah, but I think the last really big one I had was on my birthday, and I think I screwed myself over so badly.
Oh, I think I remember this.
Oh,
Just when you had the cheesecake.
uh-huh. And you were like, "Oh, follow it up with some crisps or something to help." And I just went, "Now I'll go straight into another cake or something."
So you gotta bounce between salty and sweet. That's the trick.
Yeah, so I was laying in my bed at 3 in the morning with those stomach cramps, just going, "Oh, this was worth it."
It's worth it at the time. Like I
Oh
feel
yeah,
like I've because I don't drink anymore. Like I stopped drinking when I was like 20, 26, 27, I want to say,
okay,
because I just like couldn't hack hangovers anymore, and like I'd be hungover the entire day after. So
yep.
the entire day after was like essentially write off, and like there was like a million other reasons why I gave up,
hmm
but that was like one of the main ones. And now I feel like I've kind of replaced like alcohol hangover with food hangover now.
I mean, yeah,
It's marginally better, I suppose, but yeah, I
yeah.
still like do like the day after. I'm like, oh, why did I do that? Why did I eat that much?
Um, yeah, but like with food things, you can like do a bit more work at the gym, can't you, to undo it?
I'd like to pretend that, Aiden. Yeah, that's what I tell myself to make myself feel better. There's
You
no
can
way
just
I
go,
can undo the damage I've done this lockdown. Good grief.
yeah, or you could just go, oh, I'm bulking up.
Yeah, that's what I also do. That. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
also a
yeah,
good destination.
yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I'm super stoked about tomorrow on my cheat day.
Nice. Is it? It's every couple of Sundays, isn't it? Not every week.
It used to be like every other week I'd have a cheat day. But this lockdown, it's pretty much been at least once a week, occasionally twice a week. I will go
Nice.
mental and eat like an unsupervised 7-year-old at a birthday party.
So just bags and bags of Haribo.
Oh god, yeah, I do love some Haribo.
Yeah.
That's so Moorish.
Have you tried Haribo Squidglets?
No, they sound. Are they like the squidgy? Like I don't know who does the squidgies. They call them like the lemon squidgies. I think they're called squidgies, squashies.
Oh, yes, they're like that. Yeah, but they come in like 6 different flavors. But they're like the most Moorish sweet ever.
I'm
I
gonna
can
write
only
this
ever
down.
find
Hold
them in
on.
like Wilkinson's.
It's called
I want to get the name
squishies.
correct.
Yeah.
Like Squidglets, I think it is. It's like a white bag with little squares on them. But it's Haribo that does them.
See if I can find them.
Squidglets.
Cool. That'll be adding to my blood pressure tomorrow.
Yeah, like the only places like some Tesco's do them and Wilkinson's, but they're just these little cubes that are very soft, not like marshmallowy soft, but soft enough. And you think, oh, I'll have like a handful, and then that goes to a couple bags full. Yeah.
This is the scintillating conversation that people join this wrestling themed podcast for.
Well, I think like this is a thing that a lot of wrestlers go through. Like,
you're absolutely right. I see this all the time on Twitter. Like, if you look at people like wrestlers' Twitter, a good probably 40-50% of it is what they eat.
Yeah, and like a lot of wrestlers, like because they travel so much, they have to think about what they eat, and then when they are home, they do think about what kind of awful stuff can I put in my mouth today. Like, how many sweets can I fit in 24 hours?
Some wrestlers are like super clean with their eating now. Like, it's changed over the years. And now a lot of them are doing these like meal prep services.
Yeah. Have you ever looked into those?
No, I imagine they cost an absolute fortune. Like, you're essentially paying for like chicken and rice, but you're paying like 4 or 5 times what it costs to make chicken and rice and put it in a Tupperware box with some broccoli or spinach or whatever. And yeah. It's super convenient for them, of course, and they can afford it, but I would never pay like a meal prep company. It's just absolutely insane.
I find it baffling when I see my friends who go to the gym a lot. They'll spend the whole Sunday evening cooking and preparing Tupperware boxes for their food for the week.
Yeah.
And I just look at it and go, I do not want to spend my evening doing that.
I think, like, people tell me I should do that, but I don't think people understand the quantity of food that I eat. And then I don't know if you've seen like an average plate of I think I put a post on Instagram a while ago about what like an average day of food looks like, and it's just I would have I could store 1 day's worth of food probably in my fridge, maybe 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no Tupperware box.
Worth of Tupperware boxes, yeah, and it would just be impossible. I would have to meal prep every other day.
Yes, I found the person. That's a lot of chicken. That's a lot of salmon.
And I'm eating even more than that at the moment, like 4,000 calories a day, just over. And that's when I can control my appetite.
So, no, sweet potatoes. Ugh.
I thought they're the best kind of potato.
Nah, potatoes were perfect the way they were.
Have you ever been to America and had they put marshmallow on their sweet potato over there?
What is wrong with them?
Yeah, Google it. Like they make like a marshmallow sweet potato pie thing. Americans, they love to like mix in their sweet with their savory.
Scotland gets a lot of flag. My people get a lot of flack for what we do with our food.
The classic deep fried Mars bar, deep fried pizza.
Yeah.
Haggis. I love haggis actually. Like people turn their
black
nose
pudding.
at haggis. Yeah, love black pudding.
Yeah, it's all good. Marshmallows. Although to be fair, when I was in Japan, it was Halloween season, and McDonald's were doing their fries with chocolate sauce, and it was amazing.
Really?
It was really good.
People like say, "Oh, dip your fries in your." I've never done it, but you should dip your fries in your milkshake. Apparently, that's really nice.
I've never done
So
that. I've had
sweet.
that. I've also had powdered sugar on chips as well.
Yeah,
That was
I
really
could go
good.
down there. Like I will try pretty much anything as I get older. I
Yep.
stopped like having any hesitance about eating anything. I'll eat like when we went to China, not China, Hong Kong. I was eating snake and
Cool.
chicken heads and chicken feet, and like you'd go to like the market and they just give you like this little like cup full of like octopus bits and tofu and like God knows what else. Like
Oh, yeah.
in it, you had no clue what was in it. Freaking delicious. Like
Oh yeah. If you don't know, yeah. I've had cow tongue, and that was chewy.
yeah, I haven't really had many weird organ meats. I've had liver, but I've never had stuff like I don't know eyeballs or brain or
No, I didn't.
giblets or whatever. But I'm not opposed to them. I've just never had the opportunity to eat them.
500 grams of Greek yogurt with 3 tablespoons of peanut butter, 2 scoops of whey, and full fat milk.
Yep. I don't really have that anymore though. I think too much dairy. It bloated me up a little bit.
You need to update this thing, because that looks, that would be, that's a big meal. How far apart do you space these meals?
That's the other thing. Like I do intermittent fasting a lot of the time because my appetite is so ridiculous. It helps. It helps me not like pig out completely through the day. So I probably start eating. Most days I have my first meal at about 4 o'clock or 3, and then like then I'll probably go work out, and then after that meal will be like spaced an hour apart, an hour and a half apart.
An hour? I'm gonna need like 3 hours after each one of these.
It's just once I start eating, I just want more and more and more. Hence the intermittent fasting. If I like start later in the day, it's like, I won't go too overboard in my eating. But yeah, my appetite's just been absolutely through the roof over lockdown. It would sicken you. And there you get. That's the exact reason. Like I can't, meal prep. There's just not enough room in my fridge and not enough Tupperware boxes in the world.
Okay. Yeah, this is definitely different to my meal. Yeah. This wasn't the plan we had when we were coming into this podcast, but
should we get? Yeah, that's. I was really excited about our topic this week. Wrestling video games. Something we're both experienced in. You especially, seeing that you're a video game journalist.
I'll be honest, I've played a lot up until they switched to like the realistic system.
So this would be the mainstream WWE, like
I think
SmackDown versus Raw or WWE 2K kind of series.
When it went to 2K, that's when I stopped. When it was like PS3, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much the last one I played of that series as well.
Although I played, like, I think 2K17 when I was at uni, because my housemates were big into it.
That's the other thing. They all blur into one now. Like, if you told me, this is WWE 2K18 and this one is WWE, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference other than like the roster.
That's true. But when you had like SmackDown versus Raw, like 2004, 2005, 2006, there were like big differences that I could tell the difference between them at least.
Yeah, well, they'd always had in like major changes, or there'd be a host of like new match types, or you'd have like the GM mode,
or some new like game like match type, like a Money in the Bank or an Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. Of course, they pretty much ran out of match types to add in, so they're like, well, we could take some out and then put it back in later on.
Clever.
Yeah. So where's the best place to start this?
Do you want to talk about like the first game that you played?
Yeah, that's what I was going to go with.
Yeah.
And I think the first game I played, it wasn't actually WrestleMania 2000 on the N64. I think there was a WrestleMania game on, get this, the Amiga 500.
Amazing.
Yes, the Amiga 500 being mine and my brother's. What would you call the Amiga? A console? It was kind
It
of
was a home computer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was kind of a mix between a PC, but it was heavily, tailored towards games. Really, at least mine was. We never used it for anything other than games.
Yeah, it was that weird period in British computers that it was. Yeah, it was a PC that a lot of people bought just to play computer games. So I'd say personal computer.
Yeah. So anyway, WrestleMania. I think it came out. 1991. If you want to look it up.
Yeah.
You had the option of playing as a roster of 3 superstars, I believe. You could play as Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
You could play as Ultimate Warrior. I think you could play as the British Bulldog as well.
Yeah, so I'm looking at some gameplay now, and the graphics are like for 91, surprisingly good.
Yeah. I think each wrestler, you only had one move you could do. You would like walk up to the other wrestler, you would initiate a grapple, and then to decide who won the grapple, you would actually have to destroy your joystick.
Oh wow!
This is before gamepads. You had a joystick, and you had to waggle it so freaking like back and forth so freaking hard, and you could never beat the AI. It would beat you every time.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do any moves to my opponents. So I constantly got destroyed and could never get off the first. Well, you didn't have levels. You just fought your way through like Sergeant Slaughter and the Mountie, and until you got to the last, whoever the last guy was.
Yeah.
But I could never get off the first guy. And then I found out you could get a chair from outside the ring. You just beat your opponent to death with that. And I used the same tactic over and over again in every single match. And that's how I won the game, by breaking the rules. And that taught me a great life lesson, that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, break the rules and beat people up with chairs.
It looks like, from the graphics, it looks like every wrestler has the exact same body. They've just changed the gear and the head.
Yeah, they've pretty much done a palette swap.
Yeah, like this is Bulldog versus not the Warlord. Is it Warlord?
Could be.
Black Trunks metal faceplate thing.
Yeah, it's got to be the Warlord, surely.
Yeah. And yeah, this guy's just got a chair and he's just whacking them, and he's got a 20 count outside the ring.
Oh.
And the matches have a time limit. So yeah. Oh yeah, there's Warlord.
So that's my earliest memory of a wrestling game.
Cool.
And probably, like you say, we didn't have Sky TV as kids, so that was probably one of our first introduction to wrestling. Yeah, wrestling was this strange, mysterious thing to us as kids because we couldn't actually see footage of it, but we could play the video games and we could play with the action figures.
Mm-hmm.
And we could, we had the sticker albums, so we saw everything but actual wrestling.
Nice.
So how about you? What's your best memory?
My first memory was WWF Warzone for the PlayStation 1. It was a thing. I was aware of wrestling at the time, and a friend had it, and I asked to borrow it, and he lent it to me, and we played. I played all the time because back then I used to really like just playing video games with friends. I didn't so much like playing them.
You weren't a single player guy?
No, not really. It wasn't until I was in my late teens I decided on that, I think. So I had one friend called Joe, and he'd come round and we'd play this game, but he'd be like, well, we're not doing tag team matches because one of us has to wait on the outside forever. So we'd have to do tornado tags every time.
Yeah.
Because if we did fatal four ways, we'd be afraid we'd hit each other. So yeah, we liked co-op games, so we did that, and it was like we were big into beat 'em ups, and it was sort of like, a beat 'em up with rules, I guess.
Yeah.
But the models were, looking back, like I've got the footage on my computer now, and like the motion and that all looked cool, but the way you move around the ring was so stiff.
Yeah, it looks like the models look like somebody's made them out of pipe cleaners and like stretched skin across them, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah,
Like
and
all look
Goldust.
bent
Oh,
and jagged.
Goldust looked like I don't know what, but you know, it was at the time probably just as bad as I think it is now. But it was similar with you. Like you'd have this lock-up animation, and I would just spam buttons, and eventually one of us would do a move. But most of the time it was just punch, kick, punch, kick, punch, kick.
Yeah, because it was such a ridiculously long button combination to
Yeah.
do moves. I don't know why they went with that method.
I
guess because
I'm sure
were they the same developers who did like beat 'em ups before this? Maybe they carried.
I don't know. I'm thinking they might have done it as like a coding thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it saved space on programming. The people who made it, Iguana West.
Yeah, they did the Turok series as well.
Yeah.
Serves me correctly.
Acclaim. Oh, we had Probe Entertainment as well. Oh, Acclaim London. So yeah, they did. Here we go. So they're based in Croydon. The company specialized in development of arcade games, including Outrun, Mortal Kombat, and FIFA. So yeah,
it seems
they had
crazy to me that like you'd have like in the days, well, the modern day where you have AAA video game developers. Back in the day, you'd have like teams like Rare or this one based in like Croydon or Bath or just like British cities. It seems.
Well, Guildford's full of them.
Really?
Yo,
Still?
EA have studios there. Disney actually had a studio that was like a 10-minute drive from my house, and I didn't realize it till after they shut down. But yeah, Disney had a studio. They did a motor. Was it called Dirt?
Yeah.
There was some racing game on the Xbox 360 that was like hugely popular, and it was run by Disney's studio, and it turned out to be near Portsmouth. And there is, in fact, a video game developer in Portsmouth who do Assassin's Creed games.
Wow.
Yeah.
It just seems bizarre. You'd think they'd be based in like New York or Tokyo. Well, obviously some are based in Tokyo, but or if they're going to be in the UK, it'd be Manchester, London, Bristol, maybe.
But it's just in these weird. Well, you think British game developers started with people just on their computers at home, so they just
bedroom developers, whatever you call them.
Yeah, so they would just build the studio close to their house, I guess. But yeah, so the people who made Warzone were based in. They did versions of Mortal Kombat 3,
There you go.
Doom. Yeah, so they were. And they also went on to develop. So after Warzone, they didn't do many wrestling video games. They went on to do Legends of Wrestling.
Yes. I think like the British version of that actually featured World of Sport wrestlers like Big Daddy and Haystacks.
Yeah, which I don't know if you ever played that back in the day, but that was like
I
remember it being really fun.
Yeah.
But that was
it had a really good roster.
Yeah, because it was all non-WWE guys, and they hadn't done the Legends contract yet. So you had Bret Hart, Hulk Hogan, Snooker, Lawler, the Road Warriors. But WWF Warzone was my first game. It was rough. Then I remember going to my grandparents, and my cousin left the Mega Drive there, and they had Royal Rumble, I think it was Royal Rumble.
Could be.
Let's have a look. Mega Drive. I'm just Googling it now because, like I say, I only played it a couple of times. And Super WrestleMania? Yes. It was Super WrestleMania.
And was this the one where you could do like weird, like the Undertaker would shoot ghosts out of his
Oh,
hands? Or
no, that was I think WrestleMania the arcade game.
okay, right.
The Super WrestleMania was like just I guess standard for the time wrestling game, punch kicks, a suplex here and there. Very slow. It was the first one I played that had a referee, and he moved around the ring, and it had ring announcers on the side. And I just remember playing Warzone. It was just like you were fighting in a massive empty building.
Yeah, as you say, you got the disembodied voice instead of a referee.
Yeah. I remember also Super WrestleMania had these really good renderings of all the guys and of the ring announcers, and I remember Fink is in there announcing you at the end of matches.
Oh, amazing.
The music was cool. But yeah, I didn't really get like full on into them until SmackDown 2.
You skipped over number 1.
I did, and then I went back and got it afterwards, and I didn't like it anywhere near as much as I did number 2.
Yeah, I hate this with games. Like sometimes you like play the latest iteration, you kind of want to go back and play the first one, but it's basically a downgrade, and less modes and less. That's why I never played the WCW N64 games, because I started on WrestleMania 2000, and I was like, I don't really want to go back to a game with less, smaller roster, less moves, less advanced grappling system.
So were you an N64 kid rather than a PlayStation kid?
I was an N64 kid, yeah.
Okay.
The payoff being like you didn't really get as many games on the N64 because it was so much more expensive than PlayStation games.
Yes, cartridges were expensive to produce.
So us getting a new game for the N64 was few and far between. But it was my brother, actually, not me, who purchased the game on the N64. And again, I wonder if my brother had never done that, would I ever have gotten into wrestling and become a wrestler? But did he set me up on this path just because he happened to, see, this game's got good reviews in a magazine, and he bought it, and we would play it to death. We would create ourselves in the Create a Wrestler. Of course, they would look nothing like ourselves because they'd be all jacked up and wearing sunglasses and like really cool ring attire and do all the coolest moves, as you do, which is like you would always do as a kid, is give yourselves, the swanton bomb, but also the stunner as your finisher, and you give yourself power moves, but also lucha libre moves as well, making absolutely no sense.
I mean, I was actually thinking about that, and like I was wondering, is that what inspires a lot of like the big guys in wrestling today? Was the fact that they made these custom characters and like, no one does this. What if I do it and make it my thing? And then all the purists will just go, it looks too much like a video game, and it's like, well, yeah, because that's what made us. That's what inspired us.
Yeah, well, Brian Cage gets accused of this all the time. He looks like, some creative wrestler a 7-year-old made, and he's like jumping off the top rope, but also giving people like F5s and throwing them across the ring.
But he's awesome. Yeah.
He's absolutely unique.
Mm-hmm. So, did you ever play like the SmackDown games on PS1?
Yeah, I did. When I go around to my friend's house, he was one of those friends who had a PlayStation and an N64, and basically any games console that would come out, he would get
Saturn.
It. Oh, he didn't get Saturn.
Well, that explains why they failed.
Yeah.
Yeah. SmackDown 2 was. I remember that game I got, and the intro for it blew me away because it was like the old SmackDown theme with like explosions and fights and all the big moves, and like it pumps you up to play it.
Absolutely.
And fun fact / joke thing that happened to me once was So in that music video at the beginning, they show all the wrestlers, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh yeah, there's Kane, oh there's so and so, there's the Undertaker, this and that. Then there's these two guys dressed as Elvis, and knowing now, that was Edge and Christian doing a
Yeah,
bit.
yeah, they did a bit where they went to what's Elvis's hometown? Not Minnesota. God,
Not Maryland, is it? No, Mississippi.
Mississippi.
Oh, Memphis. You thinking of?
Yeah, I'm thinking of Memphis. Yeah.
Graceland in Memphis. Okay, but yeah, me watching this bit, I was like, who the hell are these two Elvis wrestlers? And I looked through the roster, couldn't find them. I went through all the used to get the cheap books in the PlayStation magazine. I've read through them, and it's like, I've got all the characters, but there's no Elvis dudes.
Yeah.
So we were once at school talking about wrestling, and I was like, who are the two Elvis wrestlers? Because I wasn't watching wrestling at the time, because all I had were the games. And I remember this one kid looked at me and he just went, there's no Elvis wrestlers, you idiot. And for years, I was wondering who the hell these two Elvis wrestlers were, because I just wanted to unlock them, and I thought it'd be funny to be Undertaker and Kane and beat them up.
Yeah.
And I never got that. And it wasn't until like an Edge and Christian video package, maybe like 2000 and something on Raw, where I saw them and I was like, those are the guys. It's the
I didn't
Elvis
dream
dudes.
it.
Yeah.
Awesome. And of course, TNA had a team called the Flying Elvises later on.
Maybe they saw me yelling about it somewhere and went, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your forays into the creator wrestler like? Did you create any bizarre creations?
So similar to you, was like I really liked Kane, but I really liked Jeff Hardy. So I'd give myself the Swanton Bomb, but also the choke slam in the last ride.
Brilliant.
I think every 10-year-old at that time was thinking the Swanton Bomb was the coolest move ever.
Yeah.
Now look at what we've got with Phoenix splashes and 450s.
Yeah.
I was a 10-year-old then. But yeah, so do that. And I just remember spending ages on the entrance bit, because for the SmackDown games, you could choose a background, which would be just someone's Titantron video.
Yeah.
And there'd be just a range of entrance movements, I guess you could say, but you could never preview them as far as I remember. So I'd just pick one and play a game, and I'd wait for the entrance to happen before I could see if I liked it or not. And one of them, it was a tag team one for me and my mate Joe, and it was like the Hardy Boys music would happen, and then our two guys would just do roly-polies all the way down. just like Sonic the Hedgehog, just like spin dashing. And I was like, that's my entrance. When I make it to Raw, I'm going to be Sonic the Hedgehog just rolling down to the ring. Now I get dizzy after like 2 roly-polies, so I'm never gonna do that. But yeah, so I just, give myself the long hair, the Jeff Hardy, the Hardy Boys trousers, and I can't remember what I used to do for the top, but yeah, it was like Jeff Hardy / with Kane.
And I feel this is really common, and Louis mentioned it last week. Like, wrestling video games used to get people into wrestling, and I feel like this is a huge avenue that WWE is missing out on currently.
Yes,
they could attract so many more eyes to their product if they had a good video game that could, non-wrestling fans would pick up and play because it was it's just a good game.
Yeah, it needs to be able to pick up and play, and I feel like the ones now, you need to know techniques and things, and yeah,
you can't hand it to a friend who's never played a wrestling video game before. They'll just spam the punch button and probably get bored after like 5 minutes and not really know what's going on, or be able to have a competitive match with anyone.
Yeah, like at least with like the SmackDown games, it's like square was all your punch ones, and then circle was like your grapple ones, and you had your run button, and I can't remember what X did, but you had assigned buttons for things. And now I feel like it's grapple, half circle this and that, half circle this, and it's not like arcade fighters where it's like half circle something and you'll at least do a move.
Yeah.
This is like half circle this, that button combination, and then the opponent will counter it. And yeah, I feel like the N64 and the PlayStation ones were just arcadey, and that's what made them so fun.
Pick up and play.
Yeah. And from SmackDown 2, I think I played like every SmackDown game up until 2010.
Well, the next one would have been out on because SmackDown 2 would have been the last one on the PlayStation, so I assume
Yeah.
Just Bring It was the next one on the PlayStation 2.
You are correct, sir. I'm just looking at it now. SmackDown 1 and SmackDown 2 came out the same year.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Wrestling games would have really they still do have really short development cycles. I suppose up until this year they were coming out annually, but they would make huge leaps annually. I guess that's because they didn't have to concentrate on updating a huge roster with such advanced graphics. They probably spend such an amount of time just making the wrestlers look good, and not really focusing so much on gameplay and season modes and other different modes.
Well, I imagine the actual development process was quicker because of the hardware itself as well wasn't being as complex.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how long's the average development cycle of a game nowadays compared to the average development cycle of a game back in the early 2000s?
So SmackDown 1 came out mid-April in the UK. Then SmackDown 2 came out December, 1st of December, the same year. And it was the same teams.
Yeah.
It's not like nowadays where you get a Call of Duty every year, but there's like 3 teams working on them.
Yeah, they do. One team will do 1 year whilst the other team's working on the game for the following year.
And there's a third team who only works on like the multiplayer modes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so weird. But yeah, and then it came out, there was a SmackDown game every year there's been one every year since then. 20 years in a row there's been. I think I may have skipped did I skip Just Bring It? And I think I did, and went straight to Shut Your Mouth because I didn't have the PS2 for the longest time.
And I made the mistake of buying a GameCube instead of PlayStation 2. So I went from WWF No Mercy, which is considered the greatest wrestling game of all time,
Yep.
to WrestleMania X8 on the GameCube. Yep. And that was a bloody disappointment, I can tell you right there.
I got that as a gift from my grandparent, who was so excited to give me. She was like, I found a wrestling video game.
Yeah.
And she was so proud. And I remember it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't, No Mercy.
No, it was so basic. Like the Creator Wrestler was basic. Oh yeah, it had really nice graphics to the time. Huge graphical upgrade. But yeah, it was just I remember each wrestler only had 4 moves, or 4 front grapple moves you could do.
Yeah, and you could counter moves like mid-move, like you could punch someone and it would counter the move that was happening.
Yeah, and that can be really super frustrating if you're in a 4-man match. Just never hit any moves because they're rude. Punch you and break up your move.